What's up, YouTube? I'm doing the front struts on the '05 Nissan Frontier, and there's a few things that gotta get removed, taken off so we could get it out of the way. First of all, the sway bar. I already got the nut off. Gotta pop that out. Actually, both sides. I'm doing the driver side right now, but passenger side I've already taken the bolt off, the nut off, and pop it out, swing it downwards, get that out of the way. Got to get that nut off so we could take this bolt out. Up top, this got to come out of the way. So the upper ball joint, we got to loose that, separate it. This arm, the upper arm is gonna slide upwards, and I just use a bungee cord or some type of wire hanger or a string to hold the arm from actually not falling forward. And next we got to go up top. These bolts are the ones that's going to be a pain. Now, I had a hard time with the other side. I actually had to use my Sawzall to cut the two back ones off. So that one, it's all rusted. It's actually worse than the other side. Got to get that out. Got to get this one out. And then gotta get that one out. But first, I'm gonna remove that 10mm bracket that holds the ABS sensor wire. Gotta remove that out of the way. Okay, so I got that off. That bracket. Just kinda tuck it up, move it out of the way. And I got this rubber grommet right here. Remove that. It's actually 3 of them. It's another one here. Pop that out. And the last one is right here. Just be careful not to damage the wire. Twist it out. Have that dangling. The brake line is fine. We don't have to remove the caliper or anything. So now I just need to remove this pin, take that nut off, and swing the arm out of the way. Now, I also forgot to mention, but the front has to be raised, both wheels. So that's the driver's side. I have a cross beam on my jack, so, and there's the other side. The arm is off, so I have the cross beam sitting on that cross member. One side, the other side is jacked up. Then I have jack stand 1, 2. Okay, so I have the pin out. Now I just have to separate the ball joint from the knuckle. You could bang on it with a hammer. If you're gonna reuse the ball joint, then there's a tool you could get that pretty cheap at Harbor Freight. And normally I'll take the stuff apart and then I'll, show it taken apart. But I think I'm probably going to show this time how I use that tool. Okay, so the tool looks like this. Comes in 3 pieces. And once you put it together, then you want to slide this part, the thin part, right below the boot of the ball joint. Once you slide it in, okay. I try to have the bottom rest against the bottom of the bolt and the nut. So I try to adjust it where it's kind of sitting on both, especially the bolt, and it looks like that. So from here, you want to tighten that. And then whatever size this is, you get a wrench, you tighten on it. Once you get a decent amount of friction or pressure, tension I guess, then you use your hammer, and I'm using this hammer, 3 pounds, and you hit the side of the knuckle right here. So this tool, I see a lot of guys use this tool, and they use the tool to try and, once you tighten that screw, it pushes this arm, which causes it to swing, to pivot actually, like so. And it pushes on the bottom of the ball joint and pops it out. And always leave the nut on it. Don't ever take the nut fully off, otherwise it'll pop it out and then this whole thing will come falling. Leave the nut on. So once you put the tension on it, this tool is not really designed to take all that tension. So I'm assuming the proper way to use it, but the way I use it is, I'm going to show you. I'm going to tighten that, and I'm going to hit it with the hammer. Alright, so try to bear with me. I'm doing this with one hand here. So I have my wrench on it, 3/4. That's the setup. It's the upper claws is sitting right below the boot. It's not pinching it or anything like that. I'm giving it a few turns, tighten it some till I feel the tension on it. Once I feel some type of tension, you may have to try this a few times, but feel a little tension, you want to take the hammer and hit right here. And then you want to tighten it some more. Okay. You want to bang it again with the hammer. Tighten again. And you just keep doing that until it pops. You're gonna hear it making, it's just gonna pop and come loose. Now if you have an air chisel, an air hammer actually, that'll work great. Nice pop. I can take that off. Back this out. just a little grease from the boot. See how thin that edge is? So no damage to the boot. Still good. Still got our bolt. Now if this bolt wasn't there, it would have just popped out and come forward. So everything is still secure. So what I'm going to do now is get my cord to tie this off, hook it in one of these holes or wherever over here I could hook it, so get the arm out of the way, and then I could work on those rusted bolts. Okay, so I got the knuckle out of the way, bungee cord holding it, the brake line, no kind of tension on it, ABS line, the sensor is nicely tucked out of the way. Now this front nut came off pretty easy. This one in the back is giving a hard time, but a trick to that is just saturate it with penetrating fluid and just keep going back and forth. Each time you go back and forth with it, so let's say go back and forth like that, then go a little bit more. Try to turn it. Turn, it's starting to get tight. Back and forth a little bit. Then turn it a little bit more. And sometimes you could do that and get it all the way off. Now, the other one is giving me a hard time. The whole entire, let's see if I could show it. The whole entire stud is turning. The whole thing, not just the nut, the whole thing is turning. So that one's done for. This one, I could get the other two off. But what I had to do with the passenger side, which seems like I have to do the same thing on this side, is I had to get out the Sawzall, and I'm going to set that up and show what I did to cut it. Okay, so I have the Sawzall, and what I did, that last nut, I had it maybe a few millimeters. I got it lift up, unscrewed. Let's see if I get a better shot. You can see the Sawzall blade is under it. I was able to slide it under it. The wire is not in the way. It looks close on the camera, but it's not. And trying to do one hand, so, but you get the idea. Put it under it and just cut that, just cut the whole bolt and start off as close to the base as you can. Just cut it. This one should come off. If not, then I'll do the same thing to this one. And just to get a better angle, what I did is I installed my blade upside down. So that's the back, and the teeth, they're pointing backwards. Instead of flipping it around, I had it this way, so I have more room and better clearance. So as you can see, I was able to get the back one off. So I have that came off okay. The front one came off okay. This is the one I cut. It's right here. So just make sure you got a metal blade, and once you get it on the nut and you start cutting as low as you can, like, let me get the nut. Like the nut is on at the bottom. You just want to put the blade like on the base and try to cut through. If you leave that little washer area on the nut, that's fine, because you could actually use a cold chisel and knock it off. Or you cut 2/3 of the way through, and once you get 2/3 through, then you just use a cold chisel and break it off. So now I just got to take off the lower bolt for the shocks, well, the strut, and the whole thing pops right out. To do this part, I use a jack to raise that lower arm. So once I take the nut off, I could adjust the shock so the bolt slides out easy. It goes this way. It goes from right to left. So I use the shock to raise the entire lower arm, so I release the pressure off of it, and then I'm able to pop it out. So I'll take that off. Another thing, back to these upper bolts. My battery is dying, so my camera light's not working anymore. Regarding these bolts, or these studs rather, I would suggest try taking them off before you do anything else. If you're able to just slowly go back and forth, and you're able to get all of them off, then the rest is pretty much easy. If you're having a hard time taking those off, or they get seized up so much, I sprayed these down maybe 2 days in a row and they still got stuck. But if you spray it down, you take your time and try to work it back and forth. Each time you back it off a little bit more, then you tighten it back down, and keep doing that. You should get all of them off. If not, then start thinking of another method, like I did, which is using the Sawzall to try and cut the bolts off. And you could cut all of them without damaging this little ring right here that the strut mounts up in. So you could actually just get your blade, angle it, you know, examine it, make sure that you're not touching the back plate, you're not scratching up this surface, and you're not gonna cut into this little lip, and you get it right off. Very easy to cut off. Alrighty, so I got the nut off, and I just manipulated the jack to where the bolt is moving freely. So all I gotta do is just like that, pop it out. I got all these removed from up top. And now it's just to lower the jack. The strut is gonna fall. So see if I lower the jack. There you go. So it's just to slide the bottom of the strut out. Like so. Bottom is out, top comes down, and just try to show how I angle it. Angle it towards the front so I could get the top out. Slide this forward, pull straight out, and the old strut. I'm actually changing, I'm not changing the shocks, I'm just changing the entire assembly. I find it easier, just get a good quality assembly. Reputable name, maybe KYB or the decent brand of Monroe or Gabriel's. There they go. We got the old one on the left, the new one on the right, identical. Now both fronts are actually the same part number, but there's actually a orientation in how it's installed. So just examine the old one, and when you take it out, see exactly how you took it out. But on both fronts, this little notch right here, well, this hole right here, and that little piece of the rubber that sticks out goes towards the inside of the vehicle. So see the hole right here? There it goes inward. So that goes in. And goes in just like that. All three. The bottom sits in. Push the top back up. Catch all three bolts. And I put the jack back under it. Raise the arm. And then tighten the bolts up top. Line the bolt up at the bottom. And put that one back in. Tighten it. Alright, so everything's all done. Bolts are in. That 10mm is back in. Brake line. Everything's secured. This piece right here is actually a black rubber cover. It doesn't come with the new strut assembly, so I took it off the old one to protect the threads. What else? Let's see. The line is intact. Put those rubber grommets back in. 1, 2, 3. The lower bolt. Everything is back all torque to spec. That front bolt for the sway bar link, that's back on. The ball joint, that's back in and torqued down. I just got to put the pin in and put the wheel on, and that's it. I actually made this video a little bit long to get some details in there. A lot of people I've seen change their front struts or the whole assembly, and they always get these bolts off with no issues. I had both of them that gave me issues, both sides, and I had to cut it. So I didn't see any video showing anyone cutting these or using a air chisel to break these bolts off. So I figure I'll show that one method I used. I actually tried heat. That didn't work. I went with the air chisel. That didn't work. It worked a little bit, but it kept spinning the bolt. And it's not enough room to use a vice grip to hold it while using the chisel. So my next option was to use the Sawzall. If you have air tools, you could probably get a one of those air Sawzall and use those. They're a little bit smaller. They get in a tighter space. Maybe a cutoff wheel. It's got to be a small cutoff wheel. But so far for me, the best option was to use the Sawzall. Got it. I had to cut 2 on the other side. I got both of them within maybe 5 minutes. So again, I made the video a little bit longer so I could show, you know, some added details. Hopefully this will help someone. If you guys running any problem like this, at least you could use the video as a reference and it'll work. Now please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, so whenever I put out new videos, you guys could get notified and you could see my new videos.